Fox, and today I will be presenting a presentation about Scottish independence. As Americans, we rarely think about secession. Could you really imagine one of our 50 states leaving? If a state were to leave America, it would disrupt not only our economy, but family relationships across state lines. However, this last year, the UK did have to consider that it may lose an important part of their union, Scotland. It may not seem like an important thing to everyday Americans, but Scotland's choice could have affected the global economy. Scotland is an important part of the UK, a global power, so we are very lucky that they said no. In this speech, I hope to convey Scotland's desire to secede, what they offered to the UK, and finally, why they chose not to secede. The vote on secession was very controversial, so let's look at why Scotland even considered it. Well, they wanted independence. So the campaign who wanted independence was the Yes Scotland. Now, the Yes Scotland was supported by the Scottish National Party, the Scottish Green Party, and the Scottish Socialist Party. The party that wanted No was Better Scotland campaign. They preferred that staying the Union would better Scotland as well as bettering the UK. My main point, one, is that Scottish desired more cultural autonomy. They felt that their culture was more important than British culture. They were originally founded by the Picts and the Gauls. Now, the Picts were a tribal confederation of people who lived in the eastern and northern Scotland during the late Iron Age and the early medieval periods. The Gauls originated in Ireland and then moved to Scotland in the 5th century. According to BBC News, the Gauls gave Scotland its name from Scoti, a racially derogatory term used by the Romans to describe the Gaelic-speaking pirates who raided Britannia in the 3rd and 4th centuries. According to the country's national website, Scotland is a world leader in providing family history on the internet, partly because of written records going back a long way. The main examples are registers of births, marriages, and deaths dating back to 1553, census records from 1841 to 1911, and wills dating back to 1500, and all of these are available online. Now we know why Scotland was considering secession, let's talk about why they are valuable to the UK and to the world. Scotland is a major provider for the UK. According to Andrew Black of BBC News, the North Sea oil and gas reserves, or more precisely the tax taken from Scotland's share, are vital to the Scottish government's case for independence. According to him, they made approximately £1 billion a year in revenue. Another main export for them is whiskey, textiles, and electronics. According to the Scottish Whisky Association, the exports generated $4.3 billion in UK for the UK balance of trade in whiskey alone. Because of their resources, it is easy to see why the topic is so talked about in the UK. Scotland has too many connections with the UK to leave. One of the things is they have approximately 800,000 people that are living in the UK and are Scottish citizens but don't actually live in Scotland. Scotland was the only area of the UK outside of London to record output growth between 2007 and 2010 that amongst 12 nations and regions of the UK, Scotland is the 3rd most prosperous in terms of output per head, only behind London and southeast of England, according to John Swinney, the finance secretary. Now the results of the vote were 53% said no and 44% said yes. Now, what was really strange about this vote is that 84.59% of the entire population of Scotland turned out to vote, which is very high for normal people. So now we know why the Scottish voted no to secession in 2014. We could see why it is important to the British and how it may impact their future desire for cultural autonomy. Now, it may seem like it's not important to us, but for us study abroad students, it truly is a real issue. We take for granted how easy it is for us to travel within the UK. We also take for granted the numerous economic boosts we see from Scotland. If anything, I hope we see now how important each part of the Union is, and that we can learn to appreciate the value of our own individual states more. So, in conclusion, we can see that Scotland's secession would have had real consequences. Thank you.